Hi, welcome to Migraine Insiders, brought to you by U.S. Pain Centers. Find them at uspaincenters.com. My name is Bumper Morgan. With us today on Migraine Insiders is Hart Shafer. He's the founder and CEO of TheraSpecs, a fantastic company based in Arizona, makers of therapeutical eyewear that help people with migraines, painful light sensitivity, and visual sensory disorders. Hello, Hart, and thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
You know, we like to start our interviews with what we call migraine icebreakers. Are you up for that?
Absolutely.
All right, here comes the first question. Do you suffer from migraines?
Well, so I have migraine myself. I'm fortunate that as I've gotten a little older and found out some of my triggers, that I'm down to only maybe a half dozen or dozen per year. But also my wife, Carrie, has chronic migraine and has had so since she was about 11 years old, having problems with daily headache and chronic migraine.
What is her number one trigger?
Her number one trigger, well, we're always trying to figure that out, but missing regular sleep is a big issue for her, as are weather events, big storms rolling through town and things like that. But luckily, we've been able to identify and eliminate some of her other triggers, or at least get them under control.
How long was your worst migraine?
Oh, my worst migraine, I was a teenager, and it was, I think it was almost 3 days of full-blown level 8 or 9, nearly level 10 pain. And then, of course, as I've learned since, the migraine's not over when the headache is over. And I think I was sick from that one for another 2 weeks. And luckily, I've only ever had one that was that bad. Of course, I've seen my wife, Carrie, have considerably more that were even longer than that.
Have you ever missed something special because of a migraine, yours or Carrie's? And what was that special event that you missed?
When you're married to somebody with chronic migraine, you have to roll with the punches when something does intervene. And so we have missed many things. I wouldn't be able to choose just one. Concerts and other things. I think the biggest thing, though, is that my wife still grieves that she was in the middle of a absolutely unrelenting multi-day migraine and wasn't able to get on a plane and fly to a good friend's wedding. And I think that's the biggest thing that I witnessed her miss out on. And she's still sad about it to this day.
Do you keep a migraine emergency kit? And if you do, what do you keep in it?
Yeah, absolutely. My migraine kit, I've found a couple medications that really help me. And so when I start to have a migraine come on, I use a Maxalt tab that dissolves in my mouth so I don't get sick. I also find that what I've been taking for years is an old drug called Midrin, and I add that in, along with, honestly, a couple Aleve, just that little bit of ibuprofen, and that helps take the edge off. And then I also carry around my own, as the founder and CEO of TheraSpecs, I always have a pair of TheraSpecs near me. And so I put those on whenever the migraine is starting, and also when I'm through the headache and I'm back up and about, but the light is still bothering me, and so I can put those on and get out of the dark bedroom.
Fantastic, Hart. Now that we know a little more about you, let's talk about TheraSpecs. Now, what are TheraSpecs and why did you create them?
Sure. So TheraSpecs are a precision tinted eyewear, and I have a few samples here that I can hold up for the camera. This is an example of a pair of TheraSpecs. And the idea is that the TheraSpecs lens has a very special precision tint that filters out the wavelengths of light that are shown to cause the most pain response in the eye and in the brain. And it also filters out that portion of light, especially that fast and you can see pulsing and fluorescent lighting, that can make a lot of people feel unwell and even trigger migraines in a lot of folks. And so what we did is create eyewear that contains that tint, and these are designed, this is actually an indoor pair, we call it the Pilot, it's kind of an aviator style. And we have people who wear it for a couple different things related to migraine. Like me, some people wear it when they're getting the light sensitivity related to their migraine and they're trying to get out of the dark room and not be having the light cause so much pain. And then we also have folks who wear them all the time because light is a trigger for them, and especially fluorescent lighting. And by wearing TheraSpecs, they can actually reduce the frequency of their migraine attacks. Now, we offer both the indoor tint, which is what I'm showing here, as well as an outdoor tint. So this is the same style in outdoor, and you can see it's much, much darker. That's also a polarized lens. And one of the benefits of doing that, and one of the primary reasons for that in TheraSpecs, is that a lot of people with migraine tend to want to wear sunglasses indoors because of that light sensitivity comes on and it hurts. But the problem is that wearing sunglasses indoors can actually raise your sensitivity to light over time as your body adapts to darkness. By using a lighter lens that only focuses on the wavelengths that are the most problematic, you can wear TheraSpecs indoors and get that relief from light, but without raising that sensitivity to light over time.
What's the research behind the glasses?
Well, there are a whole bunch of papers that are written both specifically around the TheraSpecs, the tint we use in TheraSpecs, including one study that showed migraine frequency actually was reduced by up to 74%, something like 6.2 to 1.6 attacks per month in the group that they were looking at. And then we also tap into a lot of research around this tint used for protection from fluorescent lighting, and also looking at a lot of the things around what wavelengths of light cause the most pain response and are most likely to trigger migraines. And we link to a lot of that research from our website at TheraSpecs.com.
What about the design of TheraSpecs compared to other glasses?
Yeah, it's a key question because the original reason why we started TheraSpecs was actually we were dissatisfied with the other eyewear that we could find on the market. And so I'll use this Pilot as another example where from the front it looks like a normal pair of aviators. But what we did is we spent a lot of time really honing in on the design of the frame itself. And so if I hold it up this way, what you can see is that there's actually a tremendous amount of curve here. The lenses curve as much as a wraparound pair of, say, sport glasses, even though it doesn't look like it from the front. And so these provide a lot of isolation and protection from the sides and the top, even though they look like an aviator from the front. And then also, all of our frames are designed to minimize the pressure on the face and the head, because the last thing you want when you have migraine is to have more squeezing. And so, for instance, these have very flexible spring hinges and soft nose pads. And we use that design throughout all of our eyewear. So this is another style. These are actually designed to go on over prescription eyewear. And you can see that, again, they just look like hard plastic, but they're incredibly flexible. I can bend this all the way around. It's kind of hard to see that. Again, trying to keep things both flexible so they don't squeeze the head and as lightweight as possible.
They look great.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we honestly, especially when we started, the emphasis was entirely on therapeutic value and providing that isolation. And as we've gotten more and more product people on board and being able to work with different companies, we've been able to extend to try to blend in more and more fashion. And so they're not just therapeutic. We try to make them fashionable so that people aren't embarrassed to wear them to work or to the grocery store.
How long did it take you to develop TheraSpecs and make them available to migraineurs?
Well, our first style, it was about 6 months from the time I really decided that I was going to do this and I needed to bring migraine-specific eyewear to market before we were able to launch our first pair. And then we've been in market for just about 2 years now selling to migraineurs.
How long does it take for TheraSpecs to help the migrainer?
Well, it really depends on, again, what it is that you bought the TheraSpecs for. Most of the time, if you're sensitive to light and light hurts, you find immediate relief, and we have lots of testimonials from our customers where they say they felt like their eyes and their brain just breathed a sigh of relief as soon as they put them on. Now, if you're looking to actually reduce the frequency of migraine, that depends on how much light is a trigger for you. And so we have some people, again, who put them on and find immediate relief and an immediate reduction in the frequency of their migraine attacks. And then for some people, it can take several weeks and they notice a continuing decrease in the number of their migraines while they're wearing it up to, after wearing them for several months, they're continuing to find more improvement.
And what about people that require prescription lenses? Can they get prescriptions for TheraSpecs?
Right, so we have two options for those folks. The easiest, again, especially if you only need to wear them occasionally, are our over prescription frames, which can go on directly over prescription eyewear like I'm wearing. Or I actually have an example of a pair of prescription TheraSpecs here. So this is an old pair of sunglass frames that I had our TheraSpecs lenses put into. And so our customers, if they want, can send us any frame that they like, and we can put our lenses in with or without a prescription. So it's not just about getting prescriptions, but also we can accommodate literally any style that somebody wanted to have with their lenses if they had a preferred frame that they wanted to use.
So once you place your order, how long does it take to get a pair, and where are they made?
Sure. So TheraSpecs are assembled right here in Arizona, although we have suppliers around the world. It's one of the amazing things about companies in the modern world with the internet. We've worked with people as far away as Italy and Taiwan in order to source different materials. Then we do all the quality assurance and inspection right here in Phoenix, Arizona. When you place an order with us for any of our existing styles, like these pilots or the overs or the classics that we have available on our website, we ship those out the same or the next day that you order them. We have them in stock and ready to go right away. And we even offer anything from free to overnight shipping. So you could have TheraSpecs on your face as early as the next day after you order. For custom orders, that all depends on how complex the prescription is and can take anywhere from 7 to 10 days after we receive your frames to put the lenses in and send them back.
What is your web address?
It's www.theraspecs.com. That's Thera like therapeutic and specs like spectacles. So it's TheraSpecs.com. TheraSpecs.com.
Now, what kind of feedback have you had from your users? Any great stories to pass on to us?
Oh, it's fantastic. And honestly, every time, starting a company, even something that you believe in, is just such a hard road to hoe to get everything done. And there's constantly something that comes up. And it seems like we get a spontaneous email from our customers every time. It really seems like, everything is just so hard and maybe I should just go get a job again. But one of my favorites was an early story from a woman who emailed us and said that she was actually able to go back to work full-time, that she'd been increasingly unable to go to work because she worked in a brightly lit environment and the fluorescents were just triggering migraine after migraine for her. We had another woman who's a pastor in Canada who said that now she was able to go and actually talk to her congregation when they were in the hospital and not worry about another migraine attack from the harsh fluorescent lighting and in their hospitals. And so just tons of stories like that. We actually share them off on our Facebook page and on our website whenever we get them and we get permission to reshare them. And so we've got dozens and dozens that we just, it really is what we started the company for, and one of the things that just keeps us moving forward and trying to always improve what we're offering.
Well, that's awesome. Now, who are TheraSpecs for, or maybe not for?
Well, the TheraSpecs are for anybody who finds that normal levels of light they encounter indoors are problematic, whether that's triggering a migraine or just uncomfortable, right? So don't wear your sunglasses indoors, but protect yourself from those artificial lights like fluorescent lighting, your computer screens, and bright lights indoors with TheraSpecs. And so while we started the company really with a focus on migraine, we've actually helped people with a wide range of conditions, and even people who don't think of themselves as having a named condition at all, but find that the fluorescent lighting in their workplace or when they go out shopping is bothering them. The other people is, since we have the outdoor pairs, if you find that that normal sunglasses just aren't providing the relief that you're looking for, TheraSpecs, again, can provide a little more relief than normal sunglasses by focusing on those wavelengths of light that cause the most pain response.
Yeah, let's answer some questions from the internet.
Absolutely.
It's do these glasses offer 100% UVA, UVB protection?
They do. Both our indoor and outdoor glasses offer UV protection, and that's about both what's in the tint as well as the material of the lens that we use.
And do they help with glare off of water, snow, car windshields, things like that?
Absolutely. It's one of the reasons we really spent a lot of time figuring out how to make sure that our outdoor TheraSpecs were polarized, because it's the polarization that cuts down on that glare. And so just built in by default as standard, our outdoor lenses are polarized. Now that said, if you have a reason that a polarized lens doesn't work for you, we can always custom make a non-polarized lens that's dark to put in, but that glare and that reflection is such murder on people who are sensitive to light otherwise that we really wanted to make sure that we were taking care of that outdoors.
Is there anything else that someone should know about TheraSpecs?
Well, we know that every brain is different, but we know that the vast majority of people who have tried TheraSpecs for their migraines have been helped. And again, it really depends on whether light is one of your triggers and whether you're photosensitive to light while in the middle of a migraine. But that said, since we know that every brain is different, we offer a very easy 45-day money-back guarantee. And so if you have any need to actually return your TheraSpecs, we can come back and we'll be happy to give you your money back. I mean, we really want them to work for you, but if for some reason they don't, you're not out your purchase price.
Well, Hart, thank you for being our guest on Migraine Insiders.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It was my pleasure to be here.
To learn more about today's guest, Hart Shafer, or TheraSpecs, you can visit usPainCenters.com and click on Migraine Insiders. Thank you for joining us. My name is Bumper Morgan, and this is Migraine Insiders, brought to you by US Pain Centers. And you can always find them at usPainCenters.com.